Hello, I'm Kathy Rager. I'm the Downers Grove Township Senior Services Coordinator, and I'm also the host for the Vintage Times. The Vintage Times is a long-standing, long-running program bringing important information and topics of interest to the senior community. Today we'll be revisiting senior housing options in part 2 of our series, Housing 101. We'll be talking about assisted living, memory care, and skilled nursing, as well as CCRCs, which is continuing care retirement communities. Lots of options are out there for people. We've discussed independent living in our the first part of our series, but would like to continue that today. So thanks for joining us and continuing the discussion. So welcome to our program. This is Monika Baricello, and she is the Community Outreach Director for Lexington Square.
That is correct.
Yes, and thank you for joining us again. You're very vital to our program in part 1 and discussing independent living options, and today we'll be going a little bit further with that. Mm-hmm. But do you think that you could summarize a little bit what we discussed in part 1, briefly?
Yeah. I think, we focused on independent living, and we focused on staying in your home and what you would have to do as your healthcare needs change if you decided to stay in your home. Some of the independent living options that are out there besides your home, though, are some rental apartments. From there are senior apartments that are rental, that are specific for residents or seniors that are 55 and older. From there, those are a really nice option for seniors who no longer want to stay in their home. There's also another option out there called senior home sharing, and these are residential homes in neighborhoods where a number of seniors come together. They each have their own bedrooms. Each of these homes has a manager, and from there, that manager then cooks meals for the folks that live there. But you're independent and you're free to come and go and do as you please. Additional independent living options. We have talked about those active retirement communities, those 55 and over communities. I think about the Del Webbs and then Carolines. Those are for really active seniors, and the thing that those have are, they have clubhouses, they have golfing, swimming pools. They have just so many things for seniors to do, and you still have your own home in these particular clubs. And then from there, you did mention CCRCs, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But those are really the independent living options that are out there for folks.
Well, and I think that the beauty of this program is just there are so many options out there, and trying to help seniors, and I'm referring to 55 and older, and that's like a 40-year span if you're looking at 55 to 95.
Yeah,
so you have your younger seniors and your senior seniors.
Yep.
So there's got to be a variety of options out there, whether you stay in your home, whether you do the rentals, the Carolines, mm-hmm. the active senior communities. But I know those options are out there, and they can get some of that information from the DuPage County Senior Services website mm-hmm. and their housing directory, both subsidized and unsubsidized housing, and also from in the township office. Mm-hmm. But today I want to discuss a little bit, I think we'll start with, assisted living. It probably is what it means, but can you tell us a little bit about what assisted living is?
So assisted living is when a person is no longer safe living on their own. And typically, they require help with the tasks of daily living. You'll see ADLs, and that's what that stands for. And that can include the basic...
ADL? What is
ADLs is activities of daily living.
Oh, okay.
So typically you need help with at least 2 of those activities of daily living, and maybe even more. And those activities include the basic tasks of dressing, of bathing, of grooming, toileting, eating, even walking and getting in and out of bed. So if you need help with any of those, you are really
You'd be a candidate
you'd be a
then.
candidate for assisted living.
Okay. And do they also, I know many seniors have a variety of medications they take. Do they usually, will they also help with administering some of that or making that available to the client, depending on the institution?
Yes, absolutely. Assisted living communities do provide help with all of these services, including medication reminders, and even some might actually do medication administration. When it comes to assisted livings, there are several different models that are out there. There's I'm going to say there's really three models. There's a social model, and it's just as it says. It's a little bit of help to help you remain independent. And then there's a medical model, and obviously that means what it says. It's going to give you more help. The social model may just give you cueing to take your medications, where the medical model will actually help you take your medications.
Okay, so if you're more forgetful, you're not sure when to take it or if you've taken it, then the medical would probably be the place for you, where maybe others are just more physically, they just need more help physically, but they want to still be social and get out there, but they need help with others.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Maybe they can't do their laundry anymore. Maybe they need assistance in the bathroom. But they are, they're able to, get around, and they're still enjoying life. They're just a little bit maybe slower and just need a little bit more help. In the social model, where the medical model, it means exactly that. You need more assistance to help you get through the day. And then the third model is a supportive living model. And what supportive living means is that it's a subsidized, Medicaid-funded assisted living. And from there, some of those that are in our area, I think about right here in Downers Grove, we had a new community open up about a year and a half ago called Lacey Creek. And from there, they're a supportive living community. The Heritage Woods, we've got a number of those in our area, one of which is in Bolingbrook. They're a supportive living, so they'll help, if you have limited finances. And then I think another group that's in the Chicagoland area are the Victory Centers. So there are a number of options out there that fall under the supportive living, assisted living.
So supportive living is for more, if you have more trouble with the finances, and assisted living is just kind of the umbrella over that, but, where you might not have that same issue. Yeah.
Assisted living, private, it basically is private pay. If you do have funding challenges, then from there, the state does have these other communities that I mentioned available to help you out. You have to be pretty high functioning, though, to live in a supportive living community.
Really? So, like high functioning, what would that entail?
I would equate it more to the social model of assisted living. It's really not high medical needs.
Oh, okay. All right. So, and then I heard you mention memory care.
Yep.
What is that all
So
about?
memory care also falls under the assisted living umbrella. And memory care neighborhoods, as we said before, are popping up everywhere. And I think if we go back to the statistics that I provided in the first go around,
could you mention those again?
I will.
They were really important, and
Yeah.
I think that I think it's just something that we kind of put off the inevitable. But
We
when
do.
we really see what the statistics are, it maybe makes us think about. I know I'm thinking a lot more about my future and what I want down the road. So if you could mention those again, I'd appreciate it.
The first one is Americans 85 years and older are the fastest growing segment of the population. And 1 out of 2 seniors over 85 has some type of serious memory loss.
Wow.
1 out of 2.
That's really startling.
It is startling, and that's why we're seeing so many of these assisted living and memory care options out there. Because as we continue to age, the statistics are showing us that we're going to need those services.
Wow. So memory care then, what does that provide?
So memory care is very similar, memory care assisted living is very similar to what I said earlier for assisted living when it comes to the activities of daily living. The help with the dressing, the bathing, the grooming, toileting, eating, walking, and even assistance getting in and out of bed. The thing about assisted living, though, or memory care, it is that memory care assisted livings, it is important For the memory impaired to have 24-hour support and supervision. They need structured activities to ensure their safety and their quality of life. Dedicated Alzheimer and memory care programs are designed specifically for dementia residents to decrease wandering, agitation, and improve their quality of life. So assisted living, as you hear, its memory is very different. It's very specific to memory, to folks that are struggling with memory impairment. Where assisted living, it's more physical needs versus the memory care, which has specific programming to help those folks that are suffering from dementia and Alzheimer.
So memory care is still a piece of assisted living.
It is. It's under the same regulations as well as licensing.
Is that a step up from nursing home care?
Well, I'm not
memory care?
I'm going to say yes and no. Assisted, it's just, it can go either way. So it's not really a clear answer. Assisted living is a step up, whether it's memory care or not, to a nursing home.
And so it's just not every facility has a memory care unit?
No, there are just pure assisted living communities. Then there's communities that have both assisted living and memory, and then there's communities that just specialize in memory care.
Oh, really?
So yes, homework is definitely needed.
Wow. And do you see that increasing? I mean, we were talking again about all the different places that are popping up all over, but it seems to me there are many private pay sort of organizations, which I can understand, but there's also going to be a contingent of, seniors that just don't have that same affordability. Mm-hmm. Do you see that a variety of these going up in our area here, or do you know?
There is a variety of assisted and specifically memory care communities popping up. I think the challenge is, as you're alluding to, is affordability. All of the communities are private pay. So really, you have to look at your finances. Families have to look at the finances to know, what you can afford and what you can't afford. It is a challenge.
Well, and I think it's, again, something that we need to be thinking more long-term, thinking about a little bit earlier, and preparing a little bit better for, hopefully.
Yeah, well, and I think you're absolutely right on that. We don't know what the future holds, but we do know family history, or most of us have some indication of family history when it comes to health of our own parents or our own grandparents. And that said, we know that we might be predisposed to certain illnesses. And I think that if we have an idea, if our parents died young or our grandparents passed away young and they had certain ailments, and we know that we might also have those ailments, I think that there are a couple things that you can do, and I think that folks should look into long-term care insurance. It may not be right for everybody, but that is a way to help pay for the high costs of care as you continue to age and as your needs continue to increase. So that is one option, but the earlier you purchase that, I believe the better it is for you. I think if you purchase it in later years, it might not be financially affordable for you, from what I've learned over the years with that. So yeah, to look into that early on is a great idea, so that you can plan for the costs.
And people are living longer too, so it's into their 90s. There's quite a contingent of people in our area that live in their 90s and even reach 100. Why do you think families don't realize that this is happening?
Because when you're visiting your mom and dad, your grandparents, it's a visit. Okay, so you're not really spending all that much time with them, and in many cases your loved one has prepared for you to come, so you don't see the obvious. You really don't. But I think things to look for in the home. We talked about safety earlier, but really look. Does your mom and dad, do they have food in the cabinets? Do they have food in the refrigerator? Is there spoiled food in the refrigerator? Are their clothes clean? Yeah. What's the shape of the home? Is it clean? Are they maintaining it?
So those are some real signs and symptoms.
Those are definitely signs and symptoms that something could be, going on. And it might be just as simple that they just need some extra help in their home to help them out. But there could be some other things going on. And then, if you suspect that that something's going on, I think you need to get involved with the
You know, I know DuPage County Senior Services will send out a social worker to do an assessment if if a loved one calls.
And that's a great advocate.
Yes, yes, and so there are times you think when people are just staying too long then
Oh, yeah.
in their home or
Oh,
their
yeah.
rental apartment or wherever it is that they've been housing themselves.
Yeah, I think for sure they wait till there's a crisis, literally. And it can be a fall, it can be something like a stroke, it can be loss of vision privileges or driving privileges, because of vision or whatever the case may be. So, yes, I think that what we've seen in recent times is waiting to the last minute. And sometimes when you do that and there's a crisis, you no longer are able to move to an independent living community. You bypass it, as you mentioned earlier. You may need assisted living, or you may even need nursing. A full
It may
nursing.
jump to that,
You may
yeah.
jump to that. So every situation is different. Every health need is different, and you just don't know.
How can a senior and their family prepare for this possibility? I mean, do you see enough families that, all of a sudden we need to change and we need to do it now? How do they prepare that person, or is there a way to prepare that person?
It's crisis driven, and that person already knows something is wrong. So there isn't any easy way to ease them into it.
Okay, so there's no easy transition. It just
Not-
kind of happens
Not
sometimes.
not really.
Yeah, not unless you're preparing years ahead
Yeah.
to know what the steps are and what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, I think you can prepare for the progression of steps. It's just that until it happens, you don't ever think it's going to happen.
Are there educational sessions available to residents and their families about medical issues that can affect their choices, such as dementia and other?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a number of avenues for education. Libraries have great speakers on all different types of health topics, including dementia. From there, senior communities themselves invite people in to learn more about different health issues. And
I think I've seen several flyers from a variety of places with some classes. So the average person could possibly go to one of these classes or be looking.
Absolutely. And the more they go to, the more they learn. Healthcare is ever changing. So there's just, again, the more you see, the more you hear, the more you learn.
Wow. Now, is there a community that combines, well, actually, we didn't really address nursing homes. I know we said something briefly about nursing homes. That would be the final step, correct? Is that, maybe talk about that a little bit and then.
Yeah, nursing homes are a little bit different than assisted living and memory care neighborhoods. It's typically full care. So really full care in a nursing home. Otherwise, you would stay in an assisted living setup for as long as you could. But when your needs become so great that you need help with everything from there, then nursing homes are the right move for you.
Do you think there's a certain population of seniors that move from assisted living faster to nursing homes?
I think that's hard to answer. I think everybody is different. I know what I have seen in my time in the industry. Nursing homes aren't as important as maybe they once were. I think people stay home longer. People stay in assisted livings longer now, especially with the medical model assisted livings that are out there.
So that's great.
So from there, if they do need a nursing home, they're not typically there for a very long time.
Okay. And I'm thinking, maybe, I guess dementia's come up a lot, Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. And I would think that if somebody's wandering or, having issues, where they're not able to be contained in an assisted living or that might precipitate a move possibly to a nursing home?
Oh, absolutely. Or any level. I mean, if somebody is a wander risk and they're in a memory care neighborhood now, that's a secured neighborhood. So they're really not going to leave. But if they're in an assisted living and have some memory issues, including wandering, then they need to be in a safer place. Somebody that's wandering, though, typically is still active to a degree and isn't necessarily ready for full care, which is what's provided in a nursing home.
Okay. Yeah, that's a real important distinction because I know that it's kind of a slippery slope there with
Yeah.
dementia and wanderers because there can be some agitation attached to
yeah.
that as well. But it sounds like there are some other options before you take that final option to nursing homes. So it's really about shopping.
Yeah,
Shopping
it is.
and understanding, educating yourself about all of the medical issues and about the housing options available. So is there anything that wraps all of these things together? It sounds like it's an a la carte menu of items, but is there something that, provides the whole dinner
There
there?
is. There
Okay.
is. So there are what's known as continuing care retirement communities. And if you see those initials CCRC, that's exactly what that stands for. And basically, continuing care retirement communities offer independent living apartments, assisted living neighborhoods, memory care neighborhoods, nursing and rehab services, and even sometimes home health options all on one campus. So it's all services available to seniors as their healthcare needs change. It's really a plan for their future, never really knowing what or if they will need assisted or nursing care. But the plan is that if and when you do, it's there. You've made the decision when you've chosen to live at a continuing care retirement community that your needs will be met.
So do most people that come to that, because that sounds like a nice option, especially if it's a nice community with all, where you can live independently and enjoy it
Yep.
and not feel like you're in that place, but it sounds like there's a lot of great options for independent and then you can move along without worrying about that next step or
Right.
having your family worry about
Right.
that next step.
And that's key, family, because when you choose to live in a continuing care retirement community, your family knows you've made the decision for all your future needs. They don't have to do any more homework of where your
So it's a
next
comfort
move will
for
be.
them.
It
It's
is.
there, and
Peace
yet
of
you
mind.
still have your ability to come and go as an independent. But then there's also those things there for if you need them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that people come in at the beginning, like at an independent living point? To these, I don't know how much you know about that, but
Yep.
do they come in at the beginning or do they come in at different times? Or is it harder to come in at different times?
I think the majority come in and enjoy the active, fun lifestyle of independent living. Okay, and from there, the majority do that. However, you don't have to come in to independent. You may come directly into a CCRC, into their assisted living, or into their nursing care. So it's not a necessity that you live independently in the community. You can come at the other levels. But most people choose to come, enjoy the lifestyle, have fun. From there, just really enjoy their retirement years without any burdens of, or worries, I should say. CCRCs offer maintenance-free living. So from there, you don't have to worry about taking care of plumbing, and if the appliances go out, you really get to enjoy your retirement. And these retirement communities offer so many social opportunities and activities, healthy activities. You said earlier, swimming pools. Well, you know what? There's water aerobic classes. There's fitness centers in these communities. There's every club you can think of. There's the billiards club, and certainly the crafters club, and then there's the bingo folks, and there's the dining, the fine dining. So there's so many things to do in these communities that you really enjoy the lifestyle.
So it sounds like fun. It sounds like something I almost want like now.
Yeah. You know what? It's absolutely true.
Yeah. I could use a little less maintenance, going on and a little less worries because it does get a little overwhelming as you
Yeah.
get older to start to have to maintain all of those things. And if you want to start, if you start having grandchildren or your grandchildren are getting a little bit older, they live other places, you want to go visit, you want
For
to see
sure.
them, maybe start hitting your bucket list of items to do,
Oh, yeah.
So
Fun stuff.
yeah, no, it sounds like there's a lot of great options. So what other considerations do families need to take into account when researching these communities and other options? Is there anything that just stands out that...
Yeah, I think that you need to really, when you're making a decision of where you're going to move, there's things you have to think about. You have to look at the safety of not only the community that you're thinking about moving to, but also the city where that community is at. You want to live close to your children in most cases, but maybe not necessarily in the same city that they're in, maybe a city that is next door to them because of safety or, whatever the case may be. I think think that, you want to make sure that you meet with some residents that live in these communities, maybe have dinner with them or lunch with them, and really find out what they like and what they enjoy about living at the community, as well as maybe what they don't enjoy, so that you're making an informed decision. From there, you want to know where ownership is at. Are they local or are they across the country? And that's so that if you do have an issue, how do you reach these people to rectify whatever your situation is? So those are some of the things that I would consider. The other thing that I think is very important is that if you've narrowed down your choices as to where you want to go, find out if that community offers either a respite stay or a trial stay.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And what that is a certain amount of time that you spend in a furnished apartment and really kind of get to know the community, get to know some of your neighbors, you get to know staff, you get to eat and enjoy meals. You really get to kind of know
the food.
Yeah, absolutely. Food is at the center of life. Everything we do. So really, a little bit of get to know the community, a little bit of lay of the land before making that long-term commitment. Just a great way to test.
Do many communities do that?
I think so.
You can come in
I think most
try it
of
out?
them. I think most of them do. 2 weeks usually for respite and 30 days for a trial stay in a fully furnished apartment. I think that's common.
Wow, that's fantastic, because you, just like anything else, you want to try it out. You might think it's a good fit and it might not be. Yep. Like you say, you want to be in a community of people that you can feel to be friends with, that has activities for you, that you maybe like their food, or enough of the good things going that are available to you, and it's affordable, and like you say, I think near children. It sounds like there's a lot of considerations.
Oh, there is.
To doing that. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add or summarize about, all the different options we talked about? We talked about a lot, but I think you were very clear about all of the different options that are available.
Great. I think, you just have to do your homework. What is right for one person or family isn't necessarily right for the next. And I really think that if you are a senior, you need to get your family involved in your decision. You need to get their opinion and their help with the decision that you're going to make.
Yeah, and maybe have that conversation much earlier.
Yes.
I think we're thinking like 80s, and I think we need to start having them in our 60s.
Oh.
Hopefully the boomer generation will be a little bit more proactive and, be thinking about those ahead steps. And because we're navigating for maybe still a parent ourselves and thinking about our own retirement. And, I don't want to push it off on my kids, but I want to have some fun,
Sure.
and not have too much responsibility. So we really need to start thinking about that ahead, I think, and be proactive for ourselves as well. But I want to thank you for, coming to our program, doing our 2-part series on Housing 101. I think it's been very enlightening, and would love to have you back again sometime. But I think we've covered independent living, assisted living, memory care, supportive living, nursing home, continuing care, retirement communities. And so, when the credits roll, we'll have some options, for people to look at. They can also contact you if need be.
Absolutely.
Because you have information, or contact any one of the local communities to find out what they have.
For
Like
sure.
you said, do your homework.
Yes.
So again, thank you for,
you bet,
for coming
Kathy.
and being
Thank
my
you.
guest for 2 programs.
My pleasure.